Let everybody know on my Discord that I'm going to be streaming right now. Excuse me as I eat some toast, as it is breakfast time over here in New Zealand. Who's going to pop in first? Probably be Kairos or... Hey, it's a Horn King. Good morning. How's it going? And there's Kairos. You're always on time, Kairos. I'm impressed, constantly impressed at how you get my notifications and pop in. It's like you have a sixth sense for these things. Okay, hello everybody. Lots of things to talk about today. Woohoo! I think I need to do more live streams than I did one last month, and it started my month off really well. Against the current meta of everybody who's blathering on about how D&D YouTube is dying, I've had the best January that I've had since, well, the best month that I've had since this time last year. So yeah, usually in the old days on YouTube, it was like, don't even bother making videos in January. The returns were so bad, but it's actually been the best month that I've had in a long time. Thanks largely to the very long Gazimborag video that did remarkably well. That actually earned me a lot of money this month. Yeah, almost like a trending video. As you know, though, I don't chase trends. I don't follow the current meta. Also, for anybody who's concerned about me releasing a product, if you go and check out my fourth wall page, you'll see a number of products there that I sell, including these fantastic deeply nerdy mugs. Go buy one today. I keep the prices really low, my margins really low, so that you get a good deal, and it helps. I think it's a logical thing to keep the prices low so I get more sales. Yeah, I'm not making profits at your expense. It's just a little side income for me. And I've got a new beanie there that says Wizard of the Coast sucks, because they do. It's straight up fact. And I was going to make a video yesterday, very, very close to yesterday morning, saying, talking about warning YouTubers about what Wizard of the Coast will do to you if you don't abide by their fan content policy. And then I got to number 5 on their fan content policy after covering all of the things about, using their logos and stuff like that. And number 5 basically says they can cancel you using any of their IP at any time at their discretion for any reason, which makes all of the rest of it just a smokescreen, really. So the fact is that they don't have fan content policy. What they've got is a policy of they can abuse you at any time that they want. Case in point, there was a guy who was selling some t-shirts on Etsy that didn't even use the Dungeons & Dragons ampersand. It just looked somewhat similar to one of their old school logos, and they got a cease and desist letter at Etsy. And Etsy will just shut down your product, guilty until proven innocent, which was absolutely ridiculous. Anybody who looks at that would say that's not the D&D ampersand, that's bullshit. And he could easily win if he took it to a court of law, but Hasbro and Wizard of the Coast has this policy of attacking, well, their attack dog lawyers and Pinkertons have this policy of targeting people who can't defend themselves because they're reprehensible pieces of shit. And they always have been for 100 years. So yeah, I've done my part. I've done the boycott, and I was leading the charge in the OGL. I paid the price, so let other people just stir up controversy and drama about that shit now. I've got better things to do. And one of the things that I do is I just produce content, and I don't follow the current meta, the current trends and stuff. But I don't make clickbait videos about how channels are dying and things like that. Channels always die. And like how to be a great game master killed his own channel by doing boring Let's Play videos. So I don't believe his monologue about what the YouTube corporate told him to do. I don't think any YouTuber does, because that's not the experience that we have with YouTube. They don't recommend you to stop making content. They probably just said, maybe switch tack and go for other subjects, or if you're facing creator burnout, do something different. Good advice. but certainly not, stop making Dungeons and Dragons content, and we will, because we're not going to promote it to anybody. Case in point, I've had one of the best months I've had in a long time, just making D&D content. So yeah, blah, blah, blah. The longer you go in this crazy business with no safety net, is you just learn to pivot. And in my case, it's I just make content that is useful for people over time. My highest earning videos are the ones that people reference all the times for the faiths and clerics of Forgotten Realms, that they want to know what the god Malar is all about, what the clerics of Malar do, that sort of thing. And I'm not interested in D&D 2024 until everybody's reading the books. I'm not going to cover it. Dungeons and Dragons haven't sent me an advance copy of anything. They never will, probably. I'm kind of in a too hard basket for them because I'm very valuable and respected in the community for what I do and my integrity, so they can't really attack me or shut me down. And I also vehemently don't like what they do, so they can't support me either. So they just sort of ignore me like I don't exist. That's fine. I don't mind that at all. Meanwhile, this year, 2025, is the culmination of my 10-year plan. Yes, I had a 10-year plan. Right back when I started on Patreon, you'll see my upper tiers say that once I get to this level of funding, then I can get into self-publishing and help, support other artists and things like that. So that's what I'm doing this year. Super Atomic is very nearly ready for release. We've got some tweaks to do on the final manuscript, and once the text is locked in, we can put the artwork in there. That's all my own artwork. And yeah, it'll be released probably end of February, start of March, and that it's the same time that I'm going to be announcing officially, not this unofficial, officially Last World, which is another RPG. So it's I'm sort of pairing them back to back because I'm going to be giving out, anybody who backs the Kickstarter will be getting a free RPG in the form of Super Atomic. But the Kickstarter is not just to help me produce Last World, which is a legit fantasy setting, so a very rich, detailed setting. Super Atomic is similar sort of system and vibe, and the way that it's played. Last World is a bit more serious and has got a lot of in-depth lore and stuff for the setting, whereas Super Atomic, by necessity, is just a seat of the pants, very similar to the vibe of the Tick comic and cartoon and live show. Super's game, it's a super simple system. I mean, really simple role-playing system that is designed for everybody to access it as quickly as possible. You don't need to learn any rules. You can just pick it up and literally just play. And people who have never played a role-playing game before but have a vague idea of what role-playing is can jump into Super Atomic instantaneously, and everything you need is in that one book. But it's the basic version of it. It won't seem like it when you pick it up because it's got an incredible amount of resources in there. But part of the Kickstarter, once I give everybody who backs it a free copy of Super Atomic, because I believe still that Kickstarters should be a good deal. Like the dinosaur one that is out at the moment, the PDF is like $60. It's like, that's not a deal. That's highway robbery. You're not buying a print product, guys, and you're not. Yeah, this is ridiculous. It's like, seek additional funding if you can't produce a PDF for like $5. What the hell is wrong with you? So no, I don't support that. So yeah, you're going to be getting a free RPG, and it's and part of the funding is going towards me expanding Super Atomic into cybernetics and bionics and magic and interdimensional travel and transdimensional travel and time travel and all. So basically everything that can happen in a comic book. So yeah, and that will also include supplements that will allow you to play in 1940s, for instance, and Golden Age superheroes and that sort of stuff. So yeah, basically expanding on that, and then also working on Last World. And the money for the funding is to go towards the artist. So hopefully I can get, I've got one artist in particular who I've talked to, who I'm very interested in having him basically be the lead artist and basically represent the entire brand. And so most of the funding would go towards that. If it goes really well, really well, then I can help the other people who helped me produce Super Atomic in the first place, give them some money for their efforts because they really deserve it. And yeah, and get into publishing. So after that, I'll be producing novels for the Last World setting. So you can get my perspective on what it's like to be a character in there. And, get into publishing, which everybody's been asking me to do. I can't publish a Forgotten Realms novel, obviously. I'm not going to touch anything official D&D content with a 10-foot barge pole at the moment. Probably never will. But in the meantime, I continue to make my D&D monster videos. Less D&D mechanics, probably, but I don't think anybody's really noticed that I've cut down on that. Right. Hello, everyone. Horn King, Kairos. Lord Nargle, hello. Eric, that guy. Sean Howe, Old Gabe, Comic Nut, nice to see you. Rel is cool. People just have good... Rel is cool, people just have good taste. Hey, AJ, morning. Lord Nargle, I got Discord notification before the YouTube one. Yeah, I know. Hey, Bubs, yo, AJ's just watching your Fire Giant video when I got the notification that you were here live. Awesome timing. Oh, great. Yeah, I think it's about 1 in the afternoon over in Chicago. That's where I look for US time these days. Asmodeus sends his regards. Who's saying D&D YouTubers dying? It's currently the meta. Like, there's a lot of clickbaity sort of videos, and you'll see a lot of them doing it. Yeah, I always look for certain channels to see whether something is clickbait or not, because they always tend to deliver. But yeah. A lot of us YouTubers are just doing our thing. You got to understand that it's a shrunk market, then an expanded market, and it's shrunk down again. That was a car going by. Yeah, and it's going back to normal. I don't think that the death of Hasbro and Wizard of the Coasts and official D&D content will in any way affect the growth of the indie market now. It's got legs of its own. Shadowdark, I think, is probably tentatively what I would call a D&D killer. This month, I plan on releasing a number of videos. There's a couple of fan-requested ones. One is for Large Luigi from the Rock of Brawl. He's a beholder that is not a monster, per se. Then you've got there is a dog race from Magic the Gathering, and as I've mentioned before, when I did the Lupin race, there's like a strange underrepresentation of canine humanoid playable races in D&D, considering the massive weeb market and monster fucker market that is definitely a current thing. I'm not really a channel that caters a lot to people under the age of 20, but a lot of D&D YouTubers in that age category are very, very attracted to that style. I'm not going to say furry, but I'm going to go fur adjacent artwork. And yeah, and they have no problems with orcs being monsters and playable races, and they have no problem with half anything. Because yeah, they like the idea of crossbreeding things. I'm just saying it. I have no opinion either way. I've had to deal with that artwork since I started making videos, and it's got a lot more prevalent with 5th edition. Let's just say that. Yeah, the current new batch of 5th edition players are a thirsty lot. They're a thirsty lot. Forget about chainmail bikinis. Yeah, the future generations are going to be looking at what happened with D&D over these last few years through quite a different lens. And a lot of it is going to be cringy as hell. Not for the artwork and the risky, edgy, risque stuff. No. It's going to be the censorship and the fake clutching of pearls and performative ethics of companies. Like, for instance, Netflix cancelling Neil Gaiman, for instance, yet still going to air his second series of Sandman. Oh, we've cancelled Sandman, but we're still going to be airing the one that we've already paid for. Yeah, I'll take your ethics seriously when you actually put some money into it, you pricks. Yeah. Anyway, lots of dramas. Thank you. Yes, the mic. I was thinking about selling some modified mics on Etsy, and then apparently Etsy's turned into a terrible platform as well. So yeah, maybe through my Fourth Wall shop, I can now sell my own products through there, and I'm going to be releasing PDF versions of Super Atomic on there as well. So yeah, self-publishing. That's where I'm going. Who knows? Maybe I can become a proper legit, gaming company. Yeah, I renamed Godforge because, yeah, Godforge is kind of lame. Last World is more accurate to what it is. That's exactly what the setting is. It's the last world in the universe at the end of time. But the players don't really need to know that. They get a hint of it. And it's really a game of exploration, finding out what the world is and why they're there and what's going on. So it's a really deep discovery game, but also zany because all of the random roll tables and things allow you to create really diverse characters. And I've got a number of example races or species that are going to be present in the game as examples of how just wild you can get with the player characters. Forget about pointy-eared humans and dwarves and orcs and things like that. Now I'm going to give you some really weird players, the characters to play. But of course, you can also play a human, just for the familiar. Groja, oh, they love orcs being monsters. Yeah, right. Yeah, I think this is the most universal reaction to Wizards of the Coast being stupid I've seen. It's like nobody is supporting what they're doing with the orcs. Nobody that I've seen anyway, who is worth a grain of anything. Yeah, it's just bullshit, and it's blatant bullshit. What Wizards of the Coast is doing, and Chris Cox obviously is doing, is turning D&D into... He's trying to turn Hasbro into a AAA gaming studio, and they're getting away from making toys. So that's weird. And a really bad time to be doing it too, because AAA gaming is just falling apart right now. BioWare and Ubisoft are dying. So it's like you want to be king of the castle that's sinking into the mire. Okay. Yeah, sure. Complete your complete failure. It's like I'm sitting back going, you fail and somebody will take your place. And hopefully that's, Shadowdark or somebody with, actual ethics who actually gives a shit about the hobby. Yeah, I can't wait for Hasbro to curl up and die. That's what I was hoping for in the first place. But I've done all that. Been a while, yeah. I'm doing well, Lucas Durham Styles. Thank you very much for asking. I hope younger people actually play D&D. Yeah, they will, because they like all that sort of stuff, and they see just as much value in Dungeons & Dragons as we do. They want excuses and reasons to hang out together. That's why they go to so many concerts and things like that. And there's a lack of that sort of thing these days. They feel... isolated through their devices and things, and they realize that it's not a good position to be in, and they realize that they're mocked and, that they don't have it as good as, us older generations who got to enjoy, 10-year-long campaigns and things like that, and those sort of stories that we have. They crave that sort of thing. That's why they try and leapfrog over all the hard stuff and get to it as quickly as possible. And I think it's, it's up to us to give them the opportunity to experience those things. Not make them jump through hoops and not make them go through all the trials and errors and things that we had to go through. They don't have to replicate the exact same process, and they don't have to follow all the slavish game mechanics and things that were a legacy of wargaming, tabletop wargaming. So Dungeons & Dragons really has been mired with wargaming rules for so long. Really, all of these editions are just trying to shoehorn something which was designed for a bunch of wargaming nerds back in the 1970s and try and fit it into modern sensibilities. No, we need to completely redesign the way that we think about role-playing games. And that's what I've done with Super Atomic, and that's what I'm doing with Last World. It may piss off a bunch of people, but just trust me, I know what a good role-playing game feels like at the table, and it doesn't really have a lot to do with game mechanics. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. Yeah, the best game mechanics in the world are not going to save you if the premise of the game sucks. Simple. Yeah. Anyway, Indie is king. Yep. And I am throwing my gauntlet into the ring of indie gaming. Yeah, the new rules feel unorganic. Yeah, they're not driven by what the players need. They're driven by what the company thinks that they're protecting themselves from. They're trying to be, I don't know what they're trying to do, honestly. It's really just outrage marketing. They're just trying to get attention any way they can to try and boost sales, which are failing horribly. Everybody knows it. They're trying to hide what they're doing wrong from their shareholders, and the shareholders are having none of it. They've just packed up their Hasbro head offices and moved back to Boston because the company has shrunk so much. They're no longer a toy company. They're cutting back on all of their toy lines. I think they produced a toy line for a show that they cancelled. I think that was Transformers or something like that. How badly managed can you be to produce merch for a show that you then cancel? It's insane. They're just insane. Yeah, they're like a textbook of poster child of how you run a corporation into the ground. Just because they were so big, they didn't think they could fail, and then they turned around and got savaged. Yeah, we put them in their place. You should feel proud. Hey, thanks, Stephen. I've enjoyed making my content for years. I had a bit of a hiccup at the end of last year. I think I already talked about this, where YouTube didn't notify me that they were getting rid of a lot of bot accounts and dead accounts in my subscriber counts. So I lost like 1,500 subscribers, and they did it in a really nefarious way because each time I uploaded a video, the algorithm kicked in and then kicked off another, deleted another 800 subscribers. So it looked to me exactly like I was producing content that was really pissing off people, and they were leaving my channel in droves. So I was freaking out, as you would expect, right at the end of the year during the Christmas festive period where I'm supposed to be relaxing with friends and family. This is a trend that happens many times with YouTube. Just when you feel a little bit confident or things seem to be going well, or right at the time of year when you're the most stressed out from everything, that's when they hit you with some sort of policy change that they don't announce, and they just unleash it. And in this case, it was AI that they didn't understand, and they didn't set up notifications, and it started deleting all these subscribers. That's actually a good thing for my channel. And if they had told me and kept me on board with what they were doing like a partner, then I would have been fine with it. But what it resulted in was an immense amount of stress that affects me mentally and physically. So yeah, it was hard to produce content when that was going on and not scream about it, because the one thing you learn when you're getting problems on YouTube is you don't talk about it, because people dogpile on failure. They love to see channels go down, even good ones. And even if it's for no reason, they just want to see the dumpster set on fire. So you don't talk about it. That's why it's kind of weird to have this current meta of like people talking about their D&D channels failing. My channel is not failing. It's clawing its way back from what I did to it when I boycotted Dungeons & Dragons for the greater good. It's an organic process. It'll happen. I'll get more people coming back to the channel, and things will pick back up again. I have every confidence that that will happen because I've done it before. It's no problem for me. I'm not feeling, stressed out or anything. I'm still making a good living. So yeah, it's okay. But I still need your support more than ever. Do I want to be diversified in my incomes because corporations like Hasbro are turning around and attacking creators? That's not cool. So yeah, I need your protection. So thank you very much for your support. Every day, I reiterate to you, I work for you. I don't work for anybody else. I'm an independent publisher. Pineapple, blueberry, or birthday cake papers that taste like chocolate and coconut. What? Oh, hi, Dorse. I was wondering what you were talking about. When I GM Savage Drifts, my villains are definitely not politically correct, even if I'm progressive. Right, yeah. Like, I was talking to some other people, and we talk about the things which are not mentioned or, sort of just extracted from D&D these days. And the idea behind this game is to fight evil, but you can't fight evil if you find an evil problematic to put in your books. It's like, what are you supposed to do? Fight good people? Like, what's your character's motivation? Why? Yeah. So, yeah, I believe that one of the aspects that I've talked about with Super Atomic is that your characters don't level up. The players do. So just playing the game levels you up and you're more experienced. So it doesn't really make sense that a first level character for somebody who's been playing the game for 20 years has got a much higher survivability than a first level character for somebody who just started playing the game. Imagine if it was normal to give the person who's just started playing the game a 5th level character and the person who's been playing the game for 20 years a 1st level character. Why? Because they've got a golf handicap. They don't know how to play. The character's going to make horrible mistakes and die. And you don't punish them for that. You say, well, you haven't played very long. You're a low-level player. You know what I mean? So it's things like that, like getting rid of that old wargaming mentality and switching it up. Because the reason why you had levels and stuff, because like certain miniatures had higher points because they were commanders or something like that. You level up, you become a more important piece in your army sort of thing. So these conventions, we need to examine them carefully and say, are they really as precious as we think they are? Are they really necessary for Dungeons & Dragons or any role-playing game? And I say, no, they're not. Yeah, they misjudge the target audience trying to cash in. Hasbro is a sad story, and they go after those who actually understand what people want. Exactly. Yeah, because they don't understand what people want. Clearly, they don't understand the value of sitting down face-to-face and having a community, like building a found family. Like all of my closest, outside of blood relationships are all from role-playing games. All of them. So it's incredibly important to me that people get to experience what role-playing's actually for. It's just a game, but it's also a social gathering. It's an excuse to get together, sit down, share a meal, face-to-face, actually socialize, get off the machines, the smart devices, and actually talk to people. Yeah. AI can't replace that. You know, you're not going to meet your future wife by having an AI dungeon master. It's not about replicating the experience. It's about the experience. It's not about making a virtual tabletop. It's about getting it around a table and sharing fellowship with people, you know? So that's why I treat it like a religion. It's important. It needs to be preserved. And I also feel very strongly about a 50-year history of building this fantastic, series of settings and things that are as rich and detailed as the Lord of the Rings books. We got more reason to support Faerun because it's a living campaign. It's still being produced. Over here on the shelf behind me, right here, we have all of the third-party books which are still being produced by the original writers of the Forgotten Realms, Ed Greenwood and Jeff Grubb and George Grashos and Eric L. Boyd. And yeah, I wish Bruce Cordell was still writing for Dungeons & Dragons and those guys. But yeah, they are still producing really, really, really good books, and they cover places outside of the Forgotten Realms. We got Thay and Rashomon and the Border Kingdoms. Fantastic around the Lake of Steam. There's rich, detailed settings. Like you can set an entire campaign in that Thay book. Fantastic. So yeah, Cordell is a brilliant writer. He should be definitely in the D&D Hall of Fame or the Role RPG Hall of Fame, along with Eric Wujcik and Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson. And Dave Wesley also deserves to be in there as well. The first Dungeon Master. But Sam, what of the Dutch? What? You must throw the ring into the fire of Mount Prejudice. Yeah, they are the evil ones. Yeah, trying to take away or corrupt the heart and soul of Dungeons and Dragons. It's despicable. Shame on them. Those plastic manufacturing pieces of crap. Yeah, I don't think they're good for the hobby, and I can't wait for them to be gone. Even if we have to kill the hobby temporarily, take it out of the hands of companies temporarily, because Dungeons and Dragons is us. It's not a series of books. It's the people who play the game. If we don't play the game, it's not going to sell anyway. No, and if we don't play the game, we don't organically pass on the mantle to the next generation of Dungeon Masters, You got the Shining Sea book for 3.5 to read for lore. Yeah, exactly. You disagree, they don't know what people want. Sure they do. They've given you something you want by accident if they weren't actually avoiding that. The whole point is to ruin what you love. Yeah, there is a certain element of that, like the performative ethics is they're not representing anybody anymore. They're not promoting a message of tolerance. They're actually building intolerance to market their products as best they can. But they've lost sight of that too. Like, they don't even know why they're doing it anymore. So that's why it's concerning, is because the ship is in the hands of idiots. Not only that, but my experience with working with Wizard of the Coast ever so briefly, because when I was hired on as a consultant for Dark Alliance, which is a game that they deliberately sank because Baldur's Gate 3 was coming along, but they lost control of Baldur's Gate 3 anyway and couldn't take over Larian Studios. And to the gaming companies which approached me to promote the video games which are coming along with an NDA agreement, I'm not going to sign any NDA agreement. I'm not going to do any promotions on my channel. If you paid any attention to my channel, you would notice that I don't do promotions. So you kind of lost me even sending me a message in the first place. I don't do promotions because anybody who can block Google ads or is a premium member of YouTube can watch my videos ad-free, because all I have is the Google ad slots. That's it. I don't do promotions. I don't interrupt the video to tell you about beds or energy drinks or video games or whatever. I don't begrudge the YouTubers who do. I understand why they do it, because it brings them in an extra income. Like, for instance, you can earn thousands of dollars through using affiliate links and things like that, but that's not my intention. I believe that my videos are an important reference tool, and you don't put advertising in encyclopedias or dictionaries. They're a reference book. So my videos are a reference library. And if you can avoid Google ads, you got no advertising. I've even cut down, I was kind of infamous for my intros to my videos. I got rid of those so that it was a nice, easy transition between one video and the next. The background music on my videos is the same on all of my videos now. So you have a thematic, nice background Tristram Diablo theme burbling along in the background. So yeah, I did make the, I would say, mistake of putting some punchy music in the back of some of my Fiendfolio videos, but I'm not doing that going forward either. I just decided not to do the AI music on my channel because it's a distraction, and I won't be doing a lot of like Super Atomic promotions and stuff like that on the channel either. I'll just use other mediums for that, or I'll just host those videos on my other channel, the Mighty Glue Stick channel, and promote it that way and not clutter up my feed. Morning, Fred. Hey, Ian. I was holding out trying. I'm not going to say the word until you said it. I guess I was going to skip it. Yeah, no, I'm not going to say the name of the game. People can read it in the comments anyway. I do use Patreon. So the thing with Patreon is that I've been trying to. It's a love-hate relationship with Patreon from the get-go. I'm one of the legacy first backers of Patreon. I was one of the first creators to sign up with Patreon, and as a result, they gave me special perks. Gradually, over time, Patreon has, it's not represented the creators very well. It's not developed the platform. It's not worked enough to make it relevant. It's just sat on its laurels because it was the first platform and is the most widely known. They've just basically cashed in on that and badly managed it the entire time. Incredibly frustratingly so. Doing really detrimental, stupid mistakes over time. And I've been looking for an alternative to replace Patreon this entire time. I have found it, and that's Fourth Wall. So anybody who goes and signs up with Fourth Wall, you get a special deal right from the very get-go. It is a per month flat fee, but it's only like $5. And you get all of the perks that you get on Patreon. Plus, through Fourth Wall, I can do all of my merchandising through Fourth Wall as well. I can do a newsletter through Fourth Wall as well. I can sell my own products through Fourth Wall. So it's got a lot of benefits. And also, it's just a lot easier to connect and communicate with people directly. So if you talk to me on Fourth Wall as a member, I will respond to you and we'll have a conversation. If you want to talk about your character builds or your campaigns and things like that, I'm always happy to chat with people. And if you're backing me, more so. Yeah, so I've got 3 members on there at the moment, and they seem to be enjoying it. And it's encouraged me to produce a lot more exclusive content. You may have noticed that if you're on Patreon, that there's more content coming. that's me contributing to Fourth Wall and just basically feeding it into Patreon as well. But my focus going forward is to support Fourth Wall because Fourth Wall is better at supporting me. So far, my merch sales have picked up by a number of hundreds of percent. So I've had a very good month so far on Fourth Wall. I've only got 3 members and it's already made me $160 in a month. So that's really good. Remember, I get paid in American dollars and it translates very well into New Zealand dollars because of the trade war which is going on at the moment. So the more the New Zealand economy gets tanked, the better it is for me. So I'm a big supporter of shoring up the American economy, producing and manufacturing your own goods. Sure, it's going to be a lot of teething problems before you do that, but I would recommend getting into manufacturing if you're not already, because there's going to be a hell of a lot of demand for American-made goods, and thank God, because you always made much better products than everybody else. Please take manufacturing away from China. They suck. All of their stuff breaks. They're terrible polluters, and they're unethical people. So yeah, because I've dealt with them. I know what they're like. Cut corners everywhere. I mean, just look at tofu dreig. Terrible. Yes, we all know this. I'm not stating anything biased. It's true. Sapphire and Steel music hooked me on your channel initially. I know. I do miss the intros. I miss the art form of making them, but like, yeah. And I could, AI has changed things remarkably. I do use AI as a tool. I don't use it to replace anything. The one time that I did use AI to replace my voice, it was because I was getting my teeth fixed, so I used it as a prosthetic. And I don't think anybody really begrudges me that because I had to keep making an income. And I've switched back to using my real voice. So it was only temporary, like I said. And I stuck to that. Yeah, because I enjoy narrating and stuff. More long-form content is coming up. I've got a couple of fan-made, fan-requested videos. I've got a couple of more Fiend Folio monsters. I've got a video which I'm going to be talking about the most iconic role-playing games of all time. So the ones that the old-school gamers always refer to, like Traveller and Dark Heresy and Call of Cthulhu and things like that. Just saying what they are and what niche they sort of fill, and looking at things which are within that space now as well. Because a lot of these games established those genres in many ways. You don't like your clothes being $50? Yeah, well, I mean, you're going to pay more, but you're going to have local manufacture, better control and regulation of the industry, so no more fast fashion, which is incredibly wasteful. You're going to have much better quality control and federal control of ethics and things like that, so you know that you're not going to have sweatshops in America. And yeah, it will improve things remarkably, I think. I can only see good things, really. Even if it came from a kind of shitty place, I think the long-term effect will be quite good. We need to cut down on the global trade a little bit because there's unnecessary imports and exports of goods, basic goods that are driving up the prices of basic food items and things. If you can produce your food item in your country, you shouldn't be importing the same food item from somewhere else. Like, you shouldn't be buying milk powder from New Zealand. You shouldn't be buying timber from... You shouldn't be, like, Canada shouldn't be exporting timber to America. America's got plenty of timber of its own. They should be exporting it to India, which doesn't have huge forests of renewable resources. And they're always in demand. Like, New Zealand exports tons and tons of timber over to India for their construction. So why isn't America doing that? Happy Sunday! Yeah. Yeah, America, yeah. I mean, America had a fantastic reputation for your products. Like, I would always buy an American tool over anything else. Possibly, maybe German-made steel is a little bit better. But, I mean, like Milwaukee tools and that sort of stuff. Like, they've got a really good reputation. Because they last. Like, if you want to be a professional carpenter or something, you buy American tools. Britain used to have really good manufacturing as well, but not anymore. Britain look like they're going back to they're going to back off from Brexit and rejoin the EU, so that'll be fantastic for everybody. There's a lot of Kiwis over there who work in England, and they would be more than happy for Brexit to go away and for England to rejoin the EU. I think we need to consolidate it a little bit more now that China is getting much more aggressive. The situation over in the Pacific is getting pretty heavy. But no more politics. Come on. Your backgrounds reminded me of old D&D hardcovers. Yeah. I've got a lot of them on the shelf behind me. The UK makes better 2-tap bathtubs and wash basins than the Yanks. Yes, but you make really small rooms in your houses. Have you noticed? Like, space always seems to be a premium, and you have 2 short bathtubs. I'm 6'1". I like a big bathtub. I can't stand a too small bath, honestly. That's why I've got a spa pool, because I can't stand like not stretching out in a bath. Yeah, definitely did. Anyway, so yeah, going forward, Super Atomic, spread the word. I put a lot of work into it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's very controversial. I think a lot of people are going to look at it and go, like not get it. But once you play it, you understand what it's about. And for the people who are really into game mechanics, it's not really for you. It can certainly open your eyes to a more free and relaxed way of playing. But yeah, if you're very, very obsessed with like rule mechanics and stuff, you probably shouldn't be playing a supers game in the first place, because balance is an illusion most of the time. In supers games, it's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, look at Watchmen, for instance. You got Dr. Manhattan next to Rorschach, who's basically a psychopath in a mask. And look at the Avengers. You got Thor next to Spider-Man. Or Hawkeye. He's a god and a guy with a bow. There's no balance in supers games. It's all narrative. Storytelling is pivotal, exactly. And people have been raised on Let's Plays and stuff like that. Baldur's Gate, for instance, they just click 2 buttons and that's role-playing to them, right? 2 D20s. They don't worry about character building. Is probably the closest they get to the actual mechanics of traditional role-playing in that game. And yet, it's a perfect representation of D&D. It does the job without the game mechanics. So what does that tell you? It allows you to concentrate on what's going on in the story. You would favor going back to the original 4 playable races? Yeah. Well, in Super Atomic, you can do that too. I mean, with you can represent traditional like superheroes and stuff like that. But in Last World, yeah, you've got the option of certainly introducing anything, because I leave it wide open. There's just so much variety. What it really does is it incorporates these tables for lifeform generation that I made a long time ago, and I've developed a lot since then. And anybody who's played Super Atomic will tell you that the character options, like the combinations of different powers and mutations and backgrounds and things like that, is just dizzying. It's got infinite replayability. You'll never roll up the same character twice. But you can pick and choose if you want to build a specific character. So it's got that capacity too. You can build yourself a Iron Man or Captain America or Thor or Quasar or Captain Marvel or Amoeba Man, who's going to be an example in there. Yeah, that's right, AJ. I'm also working on Shadowdark RPG classes and accessories with Wally and Fred. Wally from Wally DM, who does all of the puzzles for D&D, and Fred, who talks about, what did you do on your channel, Fred? You talk about adventures and building mechanics and things like that, and he covers a lot of different topics. You should definitely check out his channel. Hard working D&D YouTubers. Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not denigrating Spider-Man. I'm just saying that the power level between him and Thor in a toe-to-toe fight is a little bit skew. There's no balance between the two there, but they're on the same team. Spider-Man, exactly. Spider-Man's got his own strengths and weaknesses that aren't represented well in stats, right? So on paper, Spider-Man doesn't look as strong as Thor, but his spider sense and his agility makes him one of the most powerful characters in Marvel. because he's unkillable, basically. And yet he's still a vulnerable guy that can get the shit kicked out of him. But it's that indomitable will to be the hero that really makes Spider-Man, that perceived vulnerability, the humanity of Spider-Man is what we really relate to. And the rest of it, of course, is just wish fulfillment fantasy. I talk about everything RPG stuff. Yeah. A Conan Shadowdark supplement. Yeah, well, so what we're working on is character classes and additional character classes to expand Shadowdark, and also monsters, monster races and things like that. You can play a troll and things like that. So yeah, it's a fun exercise. Additional character classes like Warlock and things like that you can play. Yeah. Keeping it very much true and loyal to the Shadowdark theme and vibe, very much so. So we spend a lot of time live streaming chatting together and working on it. Yeah, Spider-Man notoriously hard to translate into a class-based RPG system. That's why you have so many generic systems. Like, for instance, Palladium is a generic system because it covers all the different genres. Covers Beyond the Supernatural is Call of Cthulhu and Kids on Bikes, basically. Ninjas and Super Spies is Weird West and Mystical China. Your Big Trouble in Little Tokyo. Big Trouble in Little China, I should say, is perfectly represented there. And also Super Spies, it's James Bond and that sort of thing. Ninjas. Combine that with Heroes Unlimited, which is superheroes, street level to like Superman levels, superheroes. And so it balances things because it's got a generic rule system. The problem with a generic rule system that's very complex, like because it was quite early on, it's quite crunchy because it's an early iteration from D&D, carrying that legacy of all the tabletop mechanics from wargaming. What happens is once you've made a generic rule system and then you've got supplements for all these different genres, if you make any changes to the generic rule system, you have to change all of the supplements as well, which means that you have to republish your entire line of settings. That's very difficult. Same problem that Wizards of the Coast has. If they want to update the rules, they've got to update Eberron and Dragonlance and blah, 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 blah. So it's a diminishing return for them. They can't just update one core set of rules and then everything else automatically updates. They could if they had everything electronic and it was all being written by AIs that were coordinating everything, but the fact is that they can't organize that either, and AI is incapable of doing that because AI makes up stuff, so it can't actually be that accurate. It's just not viable. There's a lot of corporations and things like that who are buying into AI without realizing that it's not actually AI, it's just large language models, and those have got severe limitations when it comes to creative writing, and also any sort of factual reporting. As anybody will notice, there's a hell of a lot of fake bullshit around, which is just, AI stuff. YouTube, I think, probably at some point will crack down on pure AI content. Hopefully, I don't know, but it seems to be doing remarkably well at the moment just because of shorts format and sensationalism and stuff like that. And there's a lot of repeated formulaic stuff like, there's a lot of creatively bankrupt people who are cashing in on easy content creation at the moment. I am not one of them. But this is a natural process. Just let AI and the team, AJ and the team make some stuff for Shadowdark RPG and let us know what is missing. Yeah, let us know what you need in Shadowdark and we'll make it for you. There's a lot of people who are very keen to write for that system. Because Kelsey is a fantastic creator. She's independent, and she's made something which is popular for a reason. It's simple. It's to the point. It's well designed. It's very easy to navigate. It's very easy to pick up and play. People who play it have got a instantaneous D&D vibe. It's very, very old school feel, but with modern sensibilities. It's still a crunchy game compared to what I'm going to be producing, but it's a lot easier to pick up and get into than Pathfinder or something like that. Yeah, lighter, bit more old school, and not Wizards of the Coast. Most importantly, so we are supporting indie. Like most of the YouTubers that I know are more interested in indie games than they are 5th edition or 2024. And the people who are producing the 2024 content, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. Like, even if I had the opportunity to cover new monsters that are coming out before the book is released, I wouldn't anyway, because I don't want to promote anything that is not produced yet, particularly from a company which is got a very, very well established track record of pulling a shifty one. Yeah. And case in point, like removing the orcs from the monster manual and getting rid of half elves. Nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted that. Anybody who wanted that is not a D&D player. It's crazy. It's just nuts. So that's just like, I think maybe that's just a step too far, which has made everybody sort of go, wait a minute, this Kool-Aid is poison. Like, we need to stop what we're doing because this is ridiculous. Like, we're not on the right side of history here. Are we the bad guys? It's like, yeah. They just expurgated orcs from fantasy. Expurgated means censorship by omission. That's what they just did. And we should all be very, very angry about it. I certainly am. I'm beyond angry. I'm just sad. Yeah, the new D&D art is very corporate. It's very bland. There's some good pieces in there. I won't, say that that's all bad, but a lot of it is just like, ugh. And they've made a point of making the monster illustrations more action packed, and that's great. That's a step in the right direction. But it's like, you can't put the baby back in the bathwater. It's you're not going to make us fall in love with Dungeons and Dragons again this time. We've been burned too hard. We've been abused too much. Yeah, not mad, just disappointed. Exactly. No, TSR failed. TSR failed for a good reason. They made bad decisions. Yeah, fool me once and all that. Expurgated. Yeah, it's like a mantra over there. Expurgation. It's like that's not okay. That's censorship, man. That's making a blanket decision for everybody that we didn't sign up for. We did not agree to. Yeah, fantasy races are not real people. They're not representative of actual people. Like, there's actual black people in Forgotten Realms, black human people who have their own nations and their own problems. Termish, for instance, is a nation of mostly black people in the Forgotten Realms. Yeah, you don't see Wizards of the Coast covering that. No, no cultural diversity represented from the actual source material. No, they've got to make some bullshit place in the ethereal plane and then claim that the rest of the ethereal plane is empty. It's like, no, it's not. Where do you think the Sphinxes came from? Where do you think the Lemazu and all those guys came from? Like, they're trying to replace the Lemazu, an existing civilization in the ethereal plane that is responsible for the destruction of one of the creator races on Faerun, which they don't mention. That's the Aerie. And they're trying to replace them with the Sphinxes now. And they're trying to get rid of the problematic gender issues that Sphinxes have, where the Gyno Sphinxes are hounded and harassed by these sex-obsessed other monstrous Sphinxes. Oh no, that's too problematic. We're just going to turn them into these gaudy, brightly painted, cat-looking, large-sized Tressum. What the fuck? I don't know. It's as bad as what they did with the Phoenix in 5th edition, honestly. No game mechanic based on skin color. No, there never was. Yeah, they just they can't even make things good by accident anymore. Even furries are not on board with this stuff because they like quality content too. They want their fur people to be well-rounded and, part of a good ecosystem and stuff. They don't want people resenting, their very existence any more than they already do. They want social acceptance too, but like catering to them by getting rid of stuff or over-sexualizing things or misrepresenting things or putting politics into things where they didn't really need to be because of this most extreme, like catering to the most extreme fringe performative anguish is just really, really damaging. And also knowing that the very company which is forcing these changes on us is just they're not feeling it. It's not genuine for them. They're not doing it because they think that it's right. They're doing it because they think it will earn them money, but it's not. Go get woke, go broke. It's true. But in this case, it's not actually wokeism. It's something much worse. It's fake wokeism. It's performative. It's corporate woke. That's not real. That's not genuine because they're not actually representing any minorities or fringe groups or anything like that. They don't care. That's not what they're doing it for. Ubisoft agrees. Yeah, exactly. No, mark my words. There's going to be a kickback of some real 1980s heavy metal, hairy barbarian shit going on. There's going to be slavery. There's going to be human trafficking. There's going to be torture, mayhem, fucking hardcore punk rock. Because when the world gets dystopian, media and the stuff that we enjoy gets really hard-edged. I mean, look at some of the stuff that came out in the 80s and 90s. That was the time of Thatcherite Britain. If you want suppression, if you want hardcore fascists in control, you can't get much more sort of dystopian than Thatcherite Britain. I mean, it was depressing as hell. England is kind of dreary at the best of times, but having Thatcher in control was a nightmare. And people went punk rock. That's where it came from. Screw the monarchy, screw the lordship, screw this dystopian crap, screw these mealy-mouthed corporates who are just, stringing us along with the next outrage, like it'll distract us from the fact that we're all slaves, No, they don't want us independent. They don't want us self-employed. They don't want us self-publishing indie games. They don't want us entertaining ourselves. They don't want us to realize that Dungeons and Dragons and other role-playing games can be free and that people can produce great RPGs and give them away for free just for the love of everybody else in the hobby because we really, really need it right now. No, we're going to get very punk rock and those corporations, we're onto them. All we have to do is stop giving them money and they crumble. They crumble. They scream and they scamper and they attack everybody around them and they victimize creatives like they've been doing, and they send Pinkertons around to harass consumers because they don't care. They're just a bunch of suits. Screw them. Yeah, why get rid of orgs? It's crazy. So yeah, a little bit of anarchy goes a long way, and I think it's time for some anarchy. Definitely. But I've done my part, I boycotted I boycotted my meal ticket, my cash cow, as everybody called it. I'm back on the teat of Dungeons and Dragons content, but it's not Wizards of the Coast that I'm supporting. It's the hobby, it's the lore, it's the legacy. That's what I'm giving to you. It's I'm not interested in what Wizards of the Coast produces, and I think 6th edition 2024 is going to be as cringy as 4th edition, and all of the lore changes are going to be retconned. And yeah, it's just going to be another edition that we look back at and go, nah, that was a bad idea. Yeah, it's not the end of the hobby. It's certainly not the end of Dungeons and Dragons. Dungeons and Dragons is in here. It's in you. Warhammer Fantasy is good, but it's got a very specific vibe, and also it's crunchy. It's an old school system. It needs to simplify it. It needs to smooth it down. It needs to get people playing it online and demonstrating. You can't just demand that people pay attention to your RPG because it's been around for years. It's got to be relevant to a massive bunch of under 20-year-olds. Otherwise, yeah, it gets relegated to history no matter how good it is. I am the law. Yeah. Punk rock D&D sharing. Yeah. Let's take Dungeons and Dragons back underground. As soon as something becomes mainstream, it becomes cringe, and the underground becomes cool. So I'm with the underground. I'm not with the mainstream. I'm not touting the corporate mantra. No. Dungeons and Dragons is dead. The underground of D&D is alive and kicking. And I'm going to be leading the charge. So yeah, it's an exciting time. It's a very, very cool time to get into publishing. All of the tools and stuff are at my fingertips now. I have all of the things that I've been waiting for. You know, all these tools. It's going to be great. Guerrilla Radio. Yeah, fight the power. So, I'm enthusiastic. I don't think D&D is dead. My channel is certainly doing well. I'm very, very enthusiastic about going forward. I've got a big plan for this year. It's going to be a hell of a ride. It's going to be a roller coaster. But I don't give a fuck if I fail. I'm just going to give it a go. So yeah, hopefully you're on board with me. Hopefully you really enjoy what I'm producing, or at least just give it a look. Or if you don't like it, tell other people about it, and maybe they won't like it, and maybe they will. You know, if you don't like it, still promote it, just for me, please. And yeah, I'll carry on doing what I do. Thanks very much. It's entirely thanks to you that I'm supported in this lifestyle and doing what I do. And I will always be eternally grateful. Remember, as always, I work for you. I don't work for Wizards of the Coast or any other corporation. I work for you, the viewer, you personally. So thank you very much. And buy some mugs. They're really, really good. Like, look, it fits my hand. I've got a huge hand. Good size. Lovely design. It's my favorite mug. Yum, yum. Okay, catch you later, everybody. I'll be back with another live stream probably mid-month, and then another one at the end of the month. And yeah, watch out for those videos when they upload, and click on them as soon as you can, because that helps me out. And if you're not going to watch the video, just put it on mute, leave it running on a tab, and let it play all the way through. That is really, really good for my metrics. So playtime is really, really important right now. So if you click on a video, just let it play, even if it's a subject that you're not that interested in, just to support your channels. It really, 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 really helps to do that. And yeah, thank you very much. And watch it on lots of different mediums and different IPs. And go to your local library and watch a video, or go and pick up a free Wi-Fi channel outside somebody's business and hook in that way, so you're at a different IP address. Those little things, make a big difference. Okay, catch you later.